It's just after midnight. Armed men in military uniform scale the wall of a house in a quiet Kampala suburb. They force their way in. Minutes later, the owner of that house, a sitting former mayor, a senior lawyer, and one of Uganda's best-known opposition figure, is gone. No warrant, no explanation, just gone. This is the story of Erias Lukwago and the case that's now being called one of the most serious tests of the rule of law in Uganda in years.
Sanze wakaba abana abakozi bonana cyo kubateka wa ku gun point ngo umuntu alina cye yabbye bayingide paka mu kisenge ngizo nabazimenye ngezo okulaba okujjawe waka nga nawe wayimiriddewo wa border ono najja n'amugamba sebo nza akuma wano ba kukikomera awo olugi lwadde tetulugadde nga tuzizaawo oluzi ne bajja ne baggulawo ne bayingira ne bakugenda nga bakuba ku buli kisenge nga baggulawo buli kisenge nga baggulawo buli kisenge twabadde tuli awo nabadde ntudde bweru actually waliwo w'amagye n'abuuka ekikomera kati yagenza okibuuka ffenna ne tutya.
Before you get into this case, you need to know who this man is. Erias Lukwago was Kampala's first ever directly elected Lord Mayor, taking office in 2011. His time in charge was turbulent. He was actually impeached by city councillors in 2013 over allegation of incompetency, only to be reinstated days later after a High Court judge intervened. He went on to serve multiple terms, most recently being sworn in again in 2021. He lost his seat as Lord Mayor in January 2026 general election, but politically he didn't set back. He now leads an opposition party called the People's Front for Freedom. And professionally, he is a senior advocate, a lawyer. Specifically, he has been the lead defense counsel for Dr. Kizza Besigye, Uganda's most prominent opposition figure and four-time presidential candidate who has been detained on treason-related charges since late 2024. Lukwago has also been representing Besigye in a separate case, a lawsuit against Uganda's army chief, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, over social media posts that allegedly threatened Besigye's life. Keep that detail in mind. It matters a lot for what comes next.
Question ya Dr. Kizza Besigye je twafulumiza je twataddeyo ne baji fixing anga 3. Respondent omuye Muhoozi ekiddako era mugenda kukiraba. Nti Muhoozi kubanga 3 nga 3 Muhoozi ayina okuyimirira kati mukaguli. Kati ogenda kulaba ebiddira kawo. Saagala kutegeeza bina nebigenda okuli. So byebyo bannantagambwako.
On June 15th, 2026, according to multiple human rights organizations, members of the Uganda Military Special Forces Command surrounded Lukwago's home in the Wakaliga neighborhood, entered by force, and took him to an undisclosed location. Rights groups have described this in blunt terms as an abduction, and some legal observers have gone further, calling it consistent with an enforced disappearance.
The Mayor, Honorable Is Erias Lukwago, has just been kidnapped from his home in Lukwago. And because of the way he has been grabbed and taken, no procedures have been followed. Those who came to kidnap him, like all kidnappers, did not identify themselves. Because if there are law enforcement officers, the procedure in the Constitution and in all the relevant acts of Parliament is that you introduce yourself and state the reason you've come, the reason you are picking or arresting someone. They jumped the perimeter wall, landed the mafias in his home.
Ebyokubaako Dr. Besigye baawaabira okutyoboola eddembe lye nga mbo mwe muli omuduumizi w'amagye omukulu Muhoozi Kainerugaba, era nga kiteeberezebwa nti kino bakikoze preemptively okulemesa process y'omusango ogwo bwe kibeera nga kituufu kya kusaalirwa. Tubaddewo nga tulaba bannamawulire nga mukubwa emiggo ate kakati tulabyeko nga ne balooya basobola okubeera nga balangibwa emisango gye bawoza.
While he was being held, Uganda's army chief, Gen. Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is also the son of President Museveni, began posting about the case publicly. He referred to wherever Lukwago was being held as his basement. Now, 2 days later, on June 17, 2026, Lukwago was finally produced in court at the Makindye Chief Magistrate Court and formally charged. The charge, misprision of treason.
I think generally the concerns relate to his health condition, because since his kidnap on Monday this week, yes, a search has been on. We mounted a search. We tried everywhere, police stations, and we couldn't find him. We couldn't locate him. And the worst thing is the destruction of institutions in this country. That every person, every single officer, every single responsible person you talk to wanted to avoid trouble. Right from the police and a military officer you talked with would say that one is not our prisoner. The police said they had no knowledge of where he was, and I believe them. We were not told where he is. We knew that he was in custody of some illegal outfit in form of the military. You know, the military is a trespasser in this area. So they trespassed onto police jurisdiction. We went to Natete police station, which is area police, up to the region. They all refused to attend to us. They were saying, we do not know, we don't have him. Go to CID headquarters. We went to CID headquarters. They bounced us. We went to KMP where they sent us, and we could not get help. Until last night, midnight, we were looking for him in various police stations, where we would be told sometimes deceptively to disorganize us. And finally, in the morning today, around 10:30, when we got information that he's at Chira, we verified it without.
Misprision of treason under Uganda's penal code essentially means failing to report knowledge of a treasonous plot. Prosecutors allege Lukwago knew about and didn't disclose activities connected to the same treason case involving his own client, Dr. Kizza Besigye, allegedly dating back to between 2021 and 2024. Here's why legal organizations around the world reacted to so strongly. Lukwago has spent close to 2 years serving as Besigye's defense lawyer in the very case. Multiple bar associations, including the New York City Bar Association and the Council of Bars and Law Society of Europe, have urged that charging a defense lawyer over knowledge connected to his own client case strike directly at attorney-client privilege and the basic right to legal representation. Lukwago denied the charge. He was remanded to Luzira prison.
Between 2021 and November 2024, at various places, including Nairobi in Kenya and Kampala in Uganda, knowing that other persons, to wit, Joel Wakaima, Frank Chiheri, Atkunda, Haj Obed Lutale Kamlegea, and Colonel retired Dr. Kizza Besigye Chipefe, intended to commit treason, did not give information thereof with all reasonable dispatch to the minister, an administration official, a magistrate or an officer in charge of a police station, or use all reasonable endeavors to prevent the commission of the treason. Salongo, have you understood the particulars of the case?
Yes, you have understood.
You've understood. Is it true?
It's not true. Mention my clients. I'm representing them in the prison case. So how can I commit an offense of misprision of prison when under I'm very loyal.
What followed was a slow, painful legal battle largely fought over Lukwago's health. His legal team sought bail on medical grounds, citing gastritis, a dislocated spinal disc, reportedly linked to a previous spinal surgery in India, and a dangerous low white blood cell count. On June 22, the court was set to rule on bail. Instead, the chief magistrate defied the decision, citing security concerns, and said the ruling would come electronically through Uganda's court case management system. The next day, bail was denied. The court acknowledged Lukwago had a fixed address, suitable sureties, and genuine medical issues, but ruled that ongoing cross-border investigation and his standing as a senior lawyer, former Lord Mayor, and political leader meant he should stay in custody. The court did order that he be sent to Mulago National Referral Hospital for treatment. He's been in and out of hospital custody ever since. He missed a court date on June 30th because doctors said moving him could worsen his condition. That hearing was pushed to 7th July. Today, as we are covering the story, with his lawyer telling reporters Lukwago is, in his words, no longer really the suspect or the accused. Right now, he is just patient. On the very same day the bail ruling was expected, something else happened that widened the story internationally. Martha Karua, a well-known Kenyan senior counsel, former Kenyan justice minister, and a lead lawyer on Besigye's broader defense team, flew into Entebbe to support Lukwago's case and observe proceedings. She was stopped at the airport, held, had her phones confiscated, and deported back to Kenya without explanation. Other members of her delegation were allowed in.
Last week that there's a possibility of a red alert on me in Kampala. This was in Entebbe. This was following the arrest, unlawful arrest, detention, and torture of Ugandan senior lawyer Erias Lukwago, under whose chamber I practice, and one of the senior-most Ugandan lawyers with whom I represent, Kizza Besigye. I was not going as a lawyer, I was going as an observer. East Africa has shrunk. East Africa just means your country, because this is my second deportation. I was barred entry in Tanzania for daring to go and witness the trial of Tundu Lissu. So when they deny entry to Besigye's lead lawyer and they incarcerate unlawfully his lead lawyer in Uganda, that is a denial of Besigye's right to fair trial. Is there an East African community, or is it a club of our leaders?
The results: Besigye and his co-accused have since told the High Court they refuse to proceed with their own bail hearing without Karua and Lukwago specifically leading their defense, urging that any forced substitution of lawyers would violate their rights to a fair trial. Zoom out, and this case has become bigger than one man. The Uganda Law Society declared a nationwide lawyer strike in late June, demanding Lukwago's release. International legal bodies across multiple continents have issued statements, and in the days after Lukwago's arrest, the crackdown widened further. Several major Ugandan media houses were briefly shut down by soldiers, and other government critics, including a former government minister, were also detained. Critics urge the pattern is clear. Opposition politicians and the lawyers who represent them are being targeted using the machinery of the courts itself. The government and the military have not offered a detailed public rebuttal to the specific characterization beyond the prosecutions, maintaining that the treason investigation is ongoing and involves multiple suspects across the borders. As of today, Erias Lukwago remains in custody. receiving treatment at Mulago Hospital, still waiting on a case that is being adjourned again and again. Whatever happens next in the courtroom, this case has already raised questions that goes well beyond Uganda. What happens to a justice system when defending someone becomes itself a crime?
Budola banga kugamba nti Kizza okufa naye yandiagadde bamuwe eddagala afe bulungi aleke kufa mu bulumi. Kiri painful naye tujja kukiyitamu kubanga bwe luba lutalo nga terunaggwa tosuula ngabo kubanga wosuulira engabo bwe lukoma twandibadde tusobola okuwummula ne tuluwummuza singa munnaffe abadde bweru.
If you want to stay on top of how this develops, kindly subscribe. We'll be following this one closely.